Let's begin with the exercises and discuss some MCQs. First one. In a SHG, most of the decisions regarding savings and loan activities are taken by A. Banks, B. Members, C. NGOs, that is non-governmental organizations, and the answer to this is B. Members. So once the members in the SHG are doing well for themselves and are repaying the kind of loans that they've taken among their members, after 1 to 2 years of doing such an activity, they can go to the bank and avail a certain loan for that group itself without any kind of collateral. NGOs are nowhere in the scenario here. Formal sources of credit does not include A. Banks, B. Cooperatives, C. Employers. The answer is C. Employers. Employers totally come under the informal sources of credit along with friends, relatives and money lenders. Banks and cooperatives come under the formal sources of credit. Which one of the following is a modern form of currency? A. Gold, B. Paper notes, C. Silver, D. Copper. The answer is B. Paper notes. Gold, silver and copper are the ancient forms of currency that were used in ancient and the medieval periods of India. In which of the following systems exchange of goods is done without the use of money? A. Credit system, B. Collateral system, C. Banking system, D. Barter system. The answer is B. Barter system. So barter system is that system where exchange of goods is done without the use of money, because the exchange is done with respect to two services or two goods where either party is in needs one of the goods that are being sold to each other. Suppose I am a person who wants mangoes and I also and I have excess of potatoes with me. I find a person who is in need of potatoes and he is ready to sell me some mangoes. So I will give them some potatoes in excess and they will give me the mangoes that are in excess. So both of us satisfy the kind of necessity that we have. Credit system, collateral system and banking system are those systems where some kind of money is in movement. Banks provide a higher rate of interest on which of the following accounts? A. Saving account, B. Current account, C. Fixed deposits for a longer period, D. Fixed deposits for a shorter period. The answer is fixed deposits for long period. Let us see why the banks provide a higher rate of interest for fixed deposits for longer period. So fixed deposits are those deposits that are given out that are kept in the bank for a very long time and for years together, with the depositor saying after so and so years I will come and take the money back from the bank, right? So once this kind of fixed deposit is there in the bank, it is a kind of incentive for the bank to lend out that money as loans to the ones that are in need. They do not have to be scared for any kind of situation that arises out of emergency, because this deposit is there to stay in the bank for a long time, for many years together, more than 20 years, right? So so the banks can take advantage of this long period and give out to the borrowers who are in need for such money. And hence, now it's a kind of incentive for the depositor as well, that when they keep deposits of a large amount for a larger period of time, they will get a larger interest out of it. They will get more money on the kind of money that they've kept in the banks already. So it's an incentive, a kind of a balance between the depositor as well and the bank as well. Savings account, current account, it all depends on the kind of bank that you're availing interest on. So that depends. Banks use the major proportion of the deposits to A. Keep as reserves so that people may withdraw. B. Meet their routine expenses. C. Meet renovation of bank. And D. Extend loans. The answer is extend loans. They use around 75% or more than 75% in order to extend the loans. The rest is kept as a reserve, so that if any kind of, it's kept as a buffer so that it can satisfy any kind of emergency where people who want the money immediately to be withdrawn can avail that kind of amount. It's a emergency situation scenario. The informal source of credit does not include which one of the following? A. Friends. B. Traders. C. Cooperative sectors. D. Moneylenders. The answer is C. Cooperative sectors. Traders, friends, and moneylenders belong to the formal source of credit. Who issues the currency notes in India? A. Finance Commission. B. All nationalized banks. C. RBI. D. Individuals with the consent of the government. The answer is RBI, Reserve Bank of India. So this is that institution that gives out currency notes. Individuals absolutely have no kind of authority to issue currency notes. Finance Commission has nothing which is related to issuance of currency notes. In the section of politics in social sciences, you will come across what exactly Finance Commission is. An agreement in which the lender supplies the borrower with the money, goods, or services in return for the promise of future payment refers to A. Debt. B. Credit. C. Deposit. D. Collateral. The answer is B. Credit. So, credit is an agreement in which the lender supplies the borrower with money, goods, or services in return for the promise that that thing, as whatever is borrowed, will be repaid in the future. Which body or authority supervises the functioning of formal source of loans? A. Finance Ministry. B. Head office of each bank. C. RBI. D. Cooperative societies. This is a purely factual question and you have to remember the answer for this. The answer is C, RBI. So this body supervises the functioning of formal sources of loans, but there is absolutely no body which supervises the functioning of informal source of loans in India. Money lenders usually demand a security from the borrower. What is the formal word that is used for security, such as land, vehicle, livestock, building, etc.? A. Deposit. B. Credit. C. Collateral. D. Guarantee. The answer is C, collateral. So it is one of this kind of a security that is preferably materialistic, which is tangible, which is you can see it, and it is a kind of a tangible property, right? That can be in terms of land, a property that you have, any kind of car you have, any cows, buffaloes, etc., or a building. So you can give these into the bank in the name of the bank and avail a kind of loan, so that in the future, if you default at paying the loans, if you do not pay the loan that you've borrowed, the bank will seize the kind of collateral that you have given to them. In which country is the Grameen Bank meeting the credit needs of over 6 million poor people located? A. Bangladesh. B. Bhutan. C. Sri Lanka. D. Nepal. This is again a very factual question, and the answer should be remembered. The answer is A. Bangladesh. Fill in the blanks using the correct option given in the bracket. Majority of the credit needs of the dash households are met from informal or informal sources. You have to choose between rural or urban. That is poor households, rural. Dash costs of borrowing increase the debt burden, high or low. Choose from these two. It is high cost of borrowing increases the debt burden. Dash issues currency notes on behalf of the central government, RBI or Finance Ministry. The answer is Reserve Bank of India issues currency notes on behalf of the central government. Banks charge a higher rate of interest on loans than what they offer on Dash. It is deposits. Dash is an asset that the borrower owns and uses as a guarantee until the loan is repaid to the lender. Is it credit or is it collateral? Please choose between the two. It is called collateral. So collateral is an asset that the borrower owns and uses as a guarantee until the loan is repaid to the lender. How do banks mediate between those who have surplus money and those who need money? So banks keep a small portion of whatever deposits that are given by the people as cash, that is around 15% for themselves, and this minimum balance that should be kept is mentioned by the RBI, right? And the rest is given out as, the rest of the 85% is given out as loans. Why this 15% is kept? This 15% is kept for those depositors who suddenly come for an emergency to the bank and demand for those deposits to be given back to them. So this 15% is kept as a buffer. Why do we need to expand formal sources of credit in India? We need to expand the same because obviously to reduce the dependence on informal sources such as money lenders, friends, relatives, etc. Because these informal sources charge a high rate of interest, and also the cost of borrowing is very high for the people, the poor people, and they have to spend whatever they earn on repaying the loans and have nothing for themselves for their own needs, right? So that is not a good situation. Hence, we need to expand the formal sources by reducing the dependence on informal sources. And also, cheap credit, that is less amount of interest that has to be given back to, as interest for the credit that is availed. It is very very essential for countries development in terms of economic development as well and social development. Cooperatives and banks need to increase their lending capacity, especially in rural areas. They can set up rural branches so that everyone is able to access these branches and do not have to keep traveling to the urban areas. So they can do this as one of the uh, one method of increasing their lending. What is the basic idea behind self-help groups for the poor? Please explain in your own words. Let us see what is the basic idea. So the basic main idea is to provide finance to the rural poor people without collateral, because the rural poor people most of the times cannot afford a kind of collateral to give it to the banks so that they can get loan. So self-help groups is a kind of a channel that you can avail credit from the bank without using a collateral. So the main objectives are to organize rural people, particularly women, into certain groups, and they collect the savings of the different members in that group, and they provide loans without collateral at a reasonable interest rate. They also provide timely loans, and they are very disciplined into collecting back that kind of loan in time. And also it provides a platform for the women to go and talk about the different problems that they face in their day-to-day life, such as education, health, nutrition, domestic violence. So these can be discussed, and a very good way forward can be bought in as an outcome.